MacBook Pro review Roundup major performance gains with M4 chips, new Nano texture display upgrade, and much more. Apple launched the new M4 MacBook Pro models last week, and the new machines have been receiving pretty good reviews, especially when it comes to the performance of the machines. While the M4 chip has offered significant gains in terms of performance, the M4 Pro and M4 Max chips are the highlight of the upgrade, with performance levels beating the flagship processors from the competition. Check out the M4 MacBook Pro review Roundup below for additional details on the devices. Apple's M4 MacBook Pro reviews are out, highlighting the new Nano texture display, M4 chip performance. The first wave of M4 MacBook Pro reviews are out, and there is a lot of praise for the new M4 series of chips. However, this is not the only aspect that the company has upgraded, and the general perspective of the machines is broader in various respects. For instance, the new Nano texture display refracts light quite effectively, and the brighter display makes it easier for the Pro models to be used in direct daylight. Check out what reviewers have to say on the new M4, M4 Pro, and M4 MacBook Pro models. The Verge asks for doing my edits on the Nano texture display. I know glossy screens have a slightly deeper contrast, but I love not worrying about glare. I'm not exclusively editing in a dark room with a hooded reference monitor, and I like the flexibility of working in places with less than ideal lighting conditions. The convenience of the Nano texture far outweighs any slight technical advantage of a glossy display. And at $150, it's a worthwhile upgrade for visual pros. Antonio G. Benedetto also shared his experience with the new M4 chip's performance. You won't see the same performance in grueling workloads as you would if you spent a bit more to get an M4 Pro or a lot more for an M4 Max, but the standard M4 has some marked improvements over the M3. The M4 fared about 64% better than the M3 in Cinebench's standard multi-core test, and it maintained around a 41% delta when running a longer, sustained 30-mile new loop of the same benchmark. It's got 2 more cores than the M3 we tested, so it makes sense for the M4 to excel here, but its single-core scores in both Cinebench and Geekbench were also over 20% better. The machine was up to 25% faster in GPU benchmarks with the same number of GPU cores, too. TechCrunch simply put, if you're buying a new Pro and plan to go outside ever, spend the additional $150. I presently have 2 studio displays on my desktop. One is Nano textured, the other isn't. It makes a huge difference, even indoors. In fact, at one point I rearranged the 2 screens in a way that minimizes the glare from the one window in the room. Glossy displays on Macs are one of those things we complained about years ago, but at a certain point, many of us were worn down by Apple's refusal to offer an alternative over the years. I had given up on the idea years ago. Now that it's available, I plan to get it for any MacBook I get, going forward. TechRadar Apple is now backing all of its new Macs with at least 16 GB of RAM. This pays dividends in Apple Intelligence is on board, and graphically intense operations like ray tracing, which helps make games like Lies of P look incredible on the MacBook Pro 14. In benchmark testing, I found the numbers in line with the M4 performance I saw from the iPad Pro 13-inch. Geekbench 6.3 numbers measurably exceed those of the M3 in my MacBook Air. When I played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Steam's internal frames per second counter showed I got anywhere between 42 FPS and 62 FPS. To my eyes, there was no tearing or dropped frames. Engadget Apple also upgraded the MacBook Pro's webcams to 12 megapixels, a major leap over the previous 1080p camera. Apple hasn't confirmed the megapixel figure for that camera, but it's likely around 2 MP, the bare minimum to reach 1080p. Having a higher resolution camera also opens the door for center stage, which can keep you in focus as you move around your room. I didn't hate Apple's previous webcams, but mostly that's because I remember how mediocre its older 720p webcams used to be. The new models look far sharper with more accurate colors, and the overall image doesn't look as heavily filtered as the previous cameras. They also support desk view, above, Apple's helpful feature for showing off objects below your screen. 6 colors. I frequently use my laptop outside. If it's a nice day, I will sit in my backyard under a redwood tree and write. I did so for this article, in fact, and spent some time trying to counteract the afternoon sun shining through the branches with a new screen brightness and Nano texture display. The results were very good. True, not even the Nano texture display can really defeat the sun shining directly into the screen and reflecting into my eyes. But beyond that extreme condition, it defeated all other forms of glare easily. Using a Nano texture covered display is a little weird. The reflections just stop at the screen edge, as if by magic. It works incredibly well. And most of the time, in more normally conditions, I didn't really notice the Nano texture being there. Yes, if you look closely, you will notice a light scatter that reduces contrast a bit. While the overall design has remained the same, the company made sure that the new devices feel refreshed. The new models also include the new Thunderbolt 5 standard, along with better connectivity and the space black color option for the base model. You can also check out the video reviews below for more details.